Chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That strange pull you felt toward this video. Do not dismiss it. The enemy is working overtime this week for one reason and one reason only. God just scheduled the most important conversation of your life, and the darkness knows it. It all shifts in the next 24 hours. The confusion, the distraction, the spiritual fog. But here is what you need to hear clearly. It is not shifting because of coincidence. It is shifting because of what you have already done, and because heaven has finally gotten your attention. Think back to that moment this week when something told you to stop, when something told you this path, this person, this opportunity. Something about it felt wrong. Maybe you ignored it. Maybe you second-guessed yourself because the offer looked too clean, too perfectly timed, too much like what you had been praying for. You did not know it then, but that hesitation was not anxiety. That hesitation was God pulling the emergency brake on your behalf. You did not miss your blessing. You were being protected from a counterfeit. You did not find this recording by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment that was written into your story long before this moment arrived. You are standing at the edge of the greatest clarity of your life. Do not click away. Your future self is begging you to stay, because if you leave now, you walk back into the trap with your eyes half open. In the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you the spiritual discernment framework that unmasks every counterfeit God has already flagged in your life. I am going to walk you through the anatomy of a divine trap so you can see exactly where the enemy laid the bait and why it looked so much like an answered prayer. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that permanently cancels the assignment designed to use your own desires against you. Stay until the very last second. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not just been loud, it has been seductive. Like everything you have been praying for suddenly started showing up all at once, but something in your spirit could not fully celebrate. Maybe you received an opportunity this week that looked like a breakthrough, a phone call, a message, an open door, and on the surface, it had everything you asked God for. But underneath it, in the quiet place where your spirit lives, there was a warning you could not silence. Or maybe it was a person. Someone who arrived with the right words, the right timing, the right energy. And yet something in you kept pulling back, kept hesitating, kept saying not yet, even when your emotions were screaming yes. You feel torn between what looks like your miracle and what feels like a warning. And in that torn space, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. He has been telling you that the hesitation is fear, that the warning in your spirit is just old trauma speaking, that you are so used to things going wrong that you cannot recognize when something is finally going right. He is telling you that if you let this pass, you will miss your season. He is replaying every unanswered prayer, every delay, every season of waiting, and using it as leverage to push you through a door that God did not open. The accuser is telling you that your discernment is your dysfunction. He is telling you that God finally answered, and you are too broken to receive it. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 says, "Test all things, hold fast to what is good." Listen to that decree. Test all things, not some things. Not only the things that feel uncomfortable, all things, including the things that feel like answered prayers, including the doors that swung open easily, including the people who arrived with perfect timing. God is not offended by your discernment. He authored it. The enemy is the one who needs you to stop testing, because the moment you stop testing, the trap closes. The hesitation you feel is not a trauma response, it is a divine signal. The discomfort beneath the beautiful surface of that opportunity is not fear of success. It is the Holy Spirit lifting the curtain before you walk through the wrong door. You are not paranoid, you are protected. And that moment this week, when you paused instead of moved, when you delayed your yes, when you sat in the discomfort of not knowing instead of rushing forward, that was not weakness. That was warfare. That pause was you cooperating with heaven without even knowing it. That silence was the moment God's protection became active in your situation. The heaviness you feel is not the weight of missing your moment. It is the weight of a trap being dismantled on your behalf. You are not behind. You are being guarded. This is not a delay. This is discernment doing its work. The trap wasn't set by the enemy. That's the first thing you need to understand. The enemy, that ancient adversary, the whisperer of doubt, doesn't possess the divine authority or the intricate blueprint necessary to orchestrate the profound pressures you've been experiencing. What you've been navigating, the doors that slammed shut with a deafening finality, the unsettling silence in seasons when you expected communication, the relationships that crumbled and dissolved at the most critical junctures, none of these were random acts of misfortune or accidental stumbles in the dark. If you've been assigning blame to the devil for every setback, every struggle, every perceived failure, you've been granting him a credit he has no right to claim. Because the staggering truth, the revelation that shifts the very ground beneath your feet, is that God orchestrated this. God permitted this. And the reason you find yourself unable to simply bypass or escape this crucible isn't because he's abandoned you, but because he never intended for you to find an exit. He intended for you to be fundamentally, irrecoverably transformed within its fires. Some messages don't merely inform the intellect, they ignite the soul. If something deep within your spirit resonated, if a profound stirring began to awaken within you just now, then you may be standing at the precipice, ready to receive the chosen one's blueprint. This sacred guide is not just a book. It's a revelation meticulously crafted to unveil the 8 divine patterns that underpin your unique calling, the profound purpose woven into your suffering, and the ultimate destiny that awaits you. It's more than just text. It's an immersive experience, arriving with the full audiobook, allowing you to absorb its wisdom during your most intimate moments with God, in fervent prayer, in peaceful rest, or in quiet communion. And for those who are specifically called to be his mouthpieces, to proclaim his truth with unwavering conviction, you will also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook, a spiritual anointing designed for those who carry a prophetic assignment, a sacred burden for the hour. The link is waiting for you in the first pinned comment, but this opportunity, like all divine moments, is for a limited time. Now I implore you, stay with me, anchor your attention here, because what I am about to unfold before you is a truth that many spiritual guides shy away from, a reality they are often unwilling to articulate with boldness and clarity. The persistent signs you keep noticing, the undeniable pull you feel in your spirit, the inexplicable awakening at 3 a.m. with a weight pressing down upon your chest. This is not merely anxiety. It is not spiritual warfare, as it has been narrowly defined or commonly understood. This is God, the master architect of your soul, attempting to gain access to a house whose doors have been bolted shut from the inside. And astonishingly, profoundly, you are the one holding the key. You are the one who has secured the lock. You have been identifying with the label of broken, whispering it to yourself like a somber anthem, when all along God has been declaring you chosen. You've been playing the relentless reel of your failures, each mistake, each disappointment, each moment of perceived inadequacy, replaying it until it has become the very fabric of your identity. You've allowed these labels, broken, rejected, too much, not enough, to define the contours of your being. But understand this, these were not the pronouncements of heaven. They were the verdicts issued by individuals who, in their own limited capacity, were too small, too unequipped to comprehend the vastness of what you carry. And here lies the most insidious danger. You believed them, and the moment you internalized their judgment, the moment you accepted their earthly verdict as your truth, you effectively silenced the resonant voice of heaven, too preoccupied with the echoes of human decree. Consider the story of Gideon, a man reduced to hiding in a winepress, secretly threshing wheat, not for sustenance, but out of sheer terror of his enemies. And in that moment of profound vulnerability, the angel of the Lord appears, not addressing Gideon by his fear, not by his current destitute condition, not by his outward appearance in that desperate hour, but by his destiny. The angel declared him a mighty man of valor while he was still concealed, still trembling. This is how God operates. He sees the potential, the unformed glory, the becoming, and he speaks to it as if it is already fully realized, already complete. So, when you perceive a stirring in your spirit, a calling that seems to stand in stark contrast to your present reality, understand that this dissonance is not confusion. This is prophecy. This is heaven's voice reaching out to the magnificent version of you that is yet to fully manifest. But the revelation must deepen. It is not sufficient to merely acknowledge the call, to hear the whisper of destiny, because you have heard it before, haven't you? You have felt that nascent fire, that undeniable stirring, that deep-seated conviction that you were fashioned for a purpose yet unfulfilled. And then life, in its relentless way, pressed in. The demands of daily existence mounted, people you trusted let you down, and that vibrant vision began to morph, to fade into what felt like an unattainable fantasy. And so, in what seemed like an act of wisdom at the time, you did something. You buried it. You termed it letting go. You called it surrender. But let me be clear, it was not surrender to God, it was surrender to fear. And fear, my friends, is an exceptionally persuasive orator. It will meticulously construct a case with 10 seemingly logical reasons to remain small, dressing each one in the respectable garb of wisdom. And this leads us to a profound truth that eludes the vast majority of seekers. The trap is not the season of hardship itself. The true trap lies in our interpretation of that hard season. When pressure mounts, our minds immediately scramble for an escape route, a way to alleviate the discomfort, to retreat to the familiar, to simply make the pain cease. But God does not always send pressure as a form of punishment. Sometimes He sends it to reposition you with divine precision. The fire that felt like utter destruction was, in fact, a sacred process of purification. The loss that seemed to shatter you was, in reality, the necessary pruning of branches that would have hindered your growth. And the isolation that left you feeling utterly forgotten was God, with tender intention, drawing you away from the myriad distractions that would have otherwise kept your hands from receiving what He was poised to place within them. Coming up, we will explore the hidden agreement you unknowingly forged, the silent pact that has been the invisible ceiling, the unacknowledged barrier to every breakthrough you have yearned for and reached for. Remain with me, for this is the segment that has the power to fundamentally alter the trajectory of your spiritual journey. Recall the account of Daniel, cast into the den of lions. The scripture tells us that King Darius sealed the great stone over the entrance with his own royal signet ring. No one could enter, no one could escape. And in that sealed, suffocating space, with no immediate rescue in sight, with no human hand reaching down to pluck him from peril, Daniel remained miraculously untouched. Not because the lions had suddenly lost their primal hunger or their predatory instinct, but because Daniel had, in the silent depths of his spirit, settled something profound long before the lions became a tangible threat. He had made a resolute decision in the quiet sanctity of his private life that became the unshakable bedrock holding him together amidst the chaos of public crisis. And the question that echoes in the divine space for you right now is this: what have you settled? What unshakable decision have you solidified in your spirit when no one else was watching, when the world was oblivious? Because the decisions you make in private are the very architecture that constructs your public breakthroughs. But allow me to present a challenging perspective, a notion that often stirs within the hearts of those seeking deeper truth. Many individuals spend the entirety of their spiritual journey imploring God to alter their external circumstances, when God's primary intention is to reshape their internal character. These are not synonymous requests. Changing your circumstances implies that God is rearranging the furniture around you. Changing your character means that God is meticulously renovating the very foundations within you. And the reason so many who are undeniably chosen remain inexplicably stuck is because they persistently petition for a new geographical location when God is endeavoring to establish a new inner foundation. You simply cannot bear the immense weight of what God is preparing to bestow upon you if the internal infrastructure, the core structure of your being, has not undergone thorough renovation. The very blessing you have been fervently praying for would utterly crush the version of you that existed even 2 years ago. Therefore, the perceived delay was not an act of divine cruelty. The delay was, and is, essential construction. And here is what is poised to unfold next. I urge you to prepare your heart, to open the chambers of your spirit for this, because this subsequent layer of understanding is the one that tends to destabilize people the most. It is the layer that exposes not the machinations of the enemy, but the often unacknowledged architecture of our own internal landscape. There exists a subtle, insidious voice that you have become accustomed to listening to. It masquerades as wisdom. It dons the robes of protection. It speaks with the measured tone of discernment. But beneath this carefully constructed facade, it is fear, cloaked in spiritual attire. It communicates in calm, rational, and often persuasive language. It articulates phrases such as, "Be careful, not yet. What if you are wrong? What if it doesn't work out? What if you embarrass yourself? What if God isn't truly in this?" And because this voice sounds so reasonable, so logical, you have granted it a place of honor at the table of your decision-making. You have been mistakenly treating the voice of fear as if it were the voice of God, primarily because both, at times, counsel caution and waiting. But there is a crucial distinction between divine waiting, a posture of active trust and preparation, and fearful stalling, a paralysis disguised as patience. Divine waiting is characterized by activity. It is the season of preparation, of earnest prayer, of strategic positioning. Fearful stalling, conversely, is a state of inertia, of inaction, dressed up in the guise of pious patience. And if you have been subtly labeling your paralyzing fear as spiritual discernment, then the hour has arrived for profound honesty about your true actions. Now, once this truth settles within you, once you cultivate the courage to examine this with unflinchingly honesty, something truly extraordinary becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Because in the very moment you cease misidentifying your fear as divine wisdom, you cease the act of protecting it. And when you stop protecting fear, you inevitably stop feeding it. And when fear is no longer nourished, it begins to atrophy, losing its potent authority over your choices and your actions. Reflect on the pivotal moment Peter stepped out of the boat. The instant his gaze shifted from Jesus to the tempestuous storm, he began to sink, not because the storm's ferocity had intensified, but because his focus had been irrevocably diverted. Your external circumstances may not have changed, but your internal focus, the lens through which you perceive your reality, has been directed towards the wrong object. And focus is not a trivial matter. It is the critical determinant, the very dividing line between walking on the water with divine confidence and drowning in the very same storm. This brings us to what can only be described as the true turning point of your spiritual journey, a juncture that will either liberate you completely or starkly expose something you have been desperately unwilling to confront. There exists a subtle counterfeit manifestation of surrender that the chosen often carry within them. It artfully masquerades as humility. It speaks in hushed tones of, "I don't want to be proud. I am waiting on God's perfect timing. I don't want to get ahead of His plan." And on the surface, all of these pronouncements sound righteous and appropriate. But if you delve beneath the veneer, if you allow yourself to be truly honest, you will uncover something entirely different. Beneath the language of humility lies a profound fear of being seen, a deep-seated apprehension of stepping forward, of taking a risk, and of ultimately being wrong. It is a terror of finally being fully known, and then, once again, being rejected. Thus, you have concealed your unique gift behind a sophisticated vocabulary of humility, when in truth, You are simply terrified of the unavoidable exposure that accompanies a divine assignment. And God, with infinite patience and love, is standing at the threshold of that hidden room right now, not to shame you, but to initiate your healing. Because that which remains hidden, that which is concealed from the light, cannot be healed. And that which cannot be healed will by its very nature continue to impose limitations upon your life and your purpose. And now, for the revelation that you likely did not anticipate, the insight that may feel like a profound disruption to your understanding. The singular element that has been most effectively blocking your breakthrough is not the adversary, not the machinations of the enemy. It is not your past, with all its lingering shadows. It is not the individuals who inflicted pain upon you, nor the doors that slammed shut with unyielding force, nor the prayers that seemed to vanish into an indifferent silence. The true impediment, the invisible barrier to your progress, is an unprocessed agreement you have consciously or unconsciously made with your own deep-seated unworthiness. Somewhere along the winding path of your life, in a moment of pain so profound that it went unseen by any other soul, you made a quiet, private decision, perhaps without even realizing its gravity, that you were the solitary exception to God's boundless grace. That while everyone else could experience transformation, elevation, and divine commissioning, you, by some inexplicable decree, were exempt. Not after all you have done, you reasoned. Not after all that has been done to you, you concluded. And this silent internal agreement has been the unyielding ceiling, the invisible barrier you repeatedly encounter. Not because it holds any inherent truth, but because, moment by moment, day by day, you continue to choose it, to uphold it, over the irrefutable truth that God has been speaking about you since before you were intricately formed in the depths of your mother's womb. God is not seeking your attention to condemn you, to highlight your flaws and shortcomings. He is urgently seeking your attention because the divine clock is ticking on your assignment, and He requires you to be fully awake, fully present. The trap was never the arduous season you endured. The trap was your decision to remain asleep, oblivious, within its confines. And you are far too chosen, far too divinely called, far too critically needed in this specific generation, to spend even one more day lost in a spiritual slumber. Now I invite you to place your hand gently over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm, the pulse of life that God has granted you. And with every fiber of your being, with a conviction that resonates from your soul, declare these words with me. I release every label that was spoken over me by someone who could not see me clearly, whose vision was clouded by their own limitations. I break every agreement I have ever made with my own unworthiness, in any season, in any moment of pain, silence, or perceived failure. I decisively reject the insidious voice of fear that has been subtly masquerading as wisdom in the landscape of my life. I choose, with unwavering resolve, to perceive my delays not as setbacks, but as divine construction, and my seasons of isolation not as abandonment, but as sacred preparation. I am not broken. I am actively being built, piece by divine piece. I am not forgotten. I am being strategically positioned for my purpose. I step forward today, not because I possess all the answers or have everything perfectly figured out, but because God called me long before I ever felt ready. And I have the absolute assurance that He who began this good work within me will faithfully bring it to completion. I am chosen. I am awake, and I cannot waste another precious season sleeping through the unfolding of my divine assignment. If this message served to confirm what your spirit has already been whispering, if it illuminated a truth you already sense deep within, please share this revelation with someone else who is standing at a similar threshold, someone who desperately needs to hear these words right now. And if you feel the profound call to delve even deeper, to unlock more layers of this divine mystery, the link to the Chosen One's blueprint is waiting for you, patiently residing in the first pinned comment. This is not merely a moment, it is your moment. It is time to walk into it with courage and unwavering faith.